is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution from Ontario, Canada. And I'm speaking with Cesare Coda Nunziante, who is joining us from Chianti, Rufina, from the house of Colognole. How are you today, sir?
Very well. Not too bad. Here in Florence is a good time. Spring is in the air since a few weeks. And I have a wonderful smell of jasmine coming in from the window.
Lovely, lovely. How has the current ongoing COVID-19 pandemic impacted Tuscany as a whole and your region?
Yeah. From the sanitary point of view, I would say it's been quite well controlled because the big problem, the big troubles has been more in the north where everything started. And so after that, the region of Lombardia and Piedmont and Veneto mainly were locked down. And after that, in order to avoid all the people leaving from there and going to other places and making giving, let's say, the possibility of the contagio. I don't remember the name of contact, and when the virus goes from one to another, it's the contagio.
Yes.
So this has been quite well managed, although obviously there was quite a lot of business going through Tuscany and the north of Italy. So in the beginning, it was quite tough to block everything down. When they did it, some people were already infected also in Tuscany, and from there, mainly in the region of Pistoia and on the seaside, there was some more contact and some more spread out of the disease. But nevertheless, I would say it has been limited in certain areas, although obviously all the hospital in Florence and in the other main cities of Tuscany has been somehow quite very under pressure because of that.
Now, you have had some easing up of your lockdown procedures over the previous 2 weeks. How has that been playing out?
I would say little by little things are becoming a little easier. From May 4th, we have been allowed to move from inside the region. You can move for business reason, for a healthy reason, but also for reconnection of families and trying to get in touch with your relatives, and eventually, although not for long periods, but you're allowed to move to your countryside, but going back to the city during the night. So,
I see.
So it's sort of limited, let's say, permission to go outside the cities and to come back during the night. We expect now, since May 18, that this will be a little more even easier in terms of time and in terms of possibility to move, but I believe always inside the same region of Tuscany. Probably after June, we will be allowed to cross the border of the regions. I guess, I hope.
Now, of course, all of this lockdown must have impacted your business. What with all of these restaurants being closed, how have you been managing all of those factors?
Yeah, I would say that it has been something that really we were not used to.
Of course.
Not even think about something similar to happen in the modern time, let's say. So it's really devastating in terms of reality. We from one day to another we find out that all restaurants were closed, and well, as you can imagine, as same thing for my product in Ontario that goes only in the consignment program to the restaurants, but also here in Italy, I would say that probably in the region in the province of Tuscany, province of Florence, Prato, the 3-4 provinces all around where we have altogether roughly 220 customers. Probably 90% of those are restaurants. So our activity has been reduced quite a lot because of that, and the only way that we had to maintain a little bit more of sales has been through direct sales.
Yes.
And we have an agreement with an online platform that is selling our wines here in Italy, which is quite efficient. But I would say that in the last couple of years, this was really a little part of our business.
Yes.
Now, obviously, it's increasing quite steadily, and since a couple of months, and I'm trying to arrange things in order to support this selling, this kind of selling online, also through the social activity, Instagram, Facebook, and all. Think that I need to say I was not really smart with those things, and I really never put too much of my attention on it, because it's a totally another way to approach the communication and the way to sell the wine.
Yes.
So now I think it's something that, people staying in the house, it's easier for them to buy the wines online instead of going out, queuing up for half an hour in order to enter the supermarket and buy the wine there. Also because our wines are not really in the supermarket. We have only a few agreements with some chains in the area of Rufina and surroundings because of visibility. But our numbers in the food store is very, very small compared to restaurants and the wine shops. So obviously we've been a little bit reacting to that through the sales online. We have all our connections through our hospitality program, and we're trying to develop this one as well. Because as you can imagine, also our agriturismo and restaurants in the winery are closed. So also this part of the activity has been locked down, and this is another part of the business that is missing now. So obviously, I believe that at the end of this year, we will probably have a reduction of our income, probably of about 30–40%,
wow.
If not more, depending how long this will go through. As far as I can see, I believe that still June could be a tough month, and then little by little things will go back to normal life, but little by little, obviously not considering a potential second wave.
Yes. Yeah.
That some people is expecting in the fall. This is another impossible thing to preview, but this will have another dramatic impact, obviously, on our activity. So that's why we have been reducing all our possible expenses. That one is my expenses, because obviously I'm traveling all over the world doing normal life. But now I've been cutting all these kind of things. Also the support, all the other support I'm doing to customers, now it's down. So I'm trying to obviously to cut whenever I can, but I need to maintain the visibility and the activity on the internet, on the social, because selling online, and try to keep awareness of my brand and my wine everywhere.
If we think about the winery with the marketing and the sales aside, how have things been going in the vineyard and the winery itself?
Obviously, this part of the activity is still there. You can't stop, obviously, the budding. You can't stop anything in the countryside. So all things are going through, and we are quite active. We've been reducing our people inside the winery to have more people coming from outside in order to have to do the activity we need to do in the vineyards, to do it all together with more people, and then stopping for a while and then starting again. So there's always we have 3 people in the vineyards that are our employees, and all the other are coming from outside. So which obviously is lower a little bit our fixed cost of employment. But in the meantime, we have more people coming when we need it, which is more important, because it's especially in this time of the year where we have been all the pruning activity, and the climate has been quite well, I would say, because we were expecting some frost, some late frost in beginning of April, And we had some colder night, but not as cold as we expected. So that has had no impact on our vineyards. Also because we are a little high elevation compared to the valley, and so the problem of a frost is a little bit limited compared to what they had down the valley.
Right.
And so, also our budding was a few days later compared to some other wineries in the valley. And so this allowed also when we had a little bit of frost, our bud was still small and they had no bad impact. And then this was really important. Up to now, I've seen a lot of budding, and also the olives are a lot of flowers. So if we have, I would say, common climate in the next couple of months, this is a very good, let's say, input for the harvest of grapes and olives. So let's cross the finger for that, because I think that this year we will need to have a good harvest because of the bad situation on the market.
Of course, of course. Getting back to restaurants briefly, if you were to give a prediction, and also going on what your government have been telling you, when do you see an easing of the lockdown with regards to restaurants and how they can operate?
We've been talking quite often in the last weeks of this problem, because for us it's very important that for most of the wineries here in Tuscany. And our expectation is that the next month of June, the restaurant will be allowed to reopen. Actually, they are already allowed to reopen, but only on delivery and takeaway.
Right.
So some restaurant, for example, this night, I'm going to buy some pizza in a restaurant with the customers of us,
yes.
And I'm bringing them home. But probably since June, they will allow to be open and to have guests eating inside.
Okay.
The thing is that, in my mind, because of the average size of our restaurant, which is fairly small, mainly
yes.
the one in the center of the city, it would be very tough for them to respect the social distance that you need to, because here in Tuscany also they give it not only 1 meters, but 1.8 meters.
Right.
This means that probably in a table where there will be, generally speaking, 10, 12 people, you might sit them 4 of them, which for a restaurant is a huge disaster. So
yes,
I believe that in the month of May, also talking to a few of them in the last weeks, I believe that some of them will not reopen because they are not in a position, according to their situation inside, to their logistic situation, they are not in a position to offer to eat to an enough number of people in order to be profitable.
Yeah.
So probably they need to reduce the number. They need to reduce obviously the employees, but they need to reduce also the old timing and things. So the way to cook, it's in a small kitchen as most of them have. It's really tough. So I believe that some of them will not reopen at this time, and they will wait for a little more easier rules to follow, probably in the second part of the summer, if not in the fall. Which obviously is very bad. On the other side, some other restaurants, not in the center, but in the other part of the city or outside the city, in the countryside, they have easy rules because they can eat outside, and
yes,
outside obviously they can really, spaces are huge, and so they can larger spaces, and you can only seat more people. They need to be more in the distance, but not as distant as when you're inside. And also you can have more space where you put topics. So it will be a little more difficult to manage them because it will be spread out in front of you, but they will do it somehow. So I believe that there will be 2 types of restaurant. Someone that will be able to react to those things in the first part, and some others that will probably prefer to delay the opening instead of applying rules that may not be profitable for them in the first part, and so that will be even worse for them. They lost money in this month, and they will keep losing money in the summer if they're not able to be profitable.
Now, I have to ask you a question. Cesare, how comfortable would you be going to a restaurant to dine in the same space as other people right now?
Yeah, that's exactly the other important consideration that we have been doing with other producers. If I'm going with my family, because it's my family, I can stay in a closer spaces than if I'm going with some friends that we need to. If you're not part of the same family, you need to stay, to respect the distance. So if I'm going to with the family to have a pizza, to stay out, that's easier. But if I need to go with some friends, and being very spread out and not more than 4 or 6 people, that obviously has a big impact on my decision to go out and to spend time. Yes. Otherwise, I will invite them at home and I prepare a table on the garden, and we can enjoy staying there instead of. Obviously, I will go there anyhow because they are my customers, and so I will go there to support them and to share with them a glass of wine and to enjoy them. But if I was not a producer, probably I would decide to stay home and invite people home instead of going in a restaurant where I need to respect large spaces and we cannot laugh. You cannot feel the ambience. Yes. And the atmosphere of being a little more relaxed, and and I think that many people is thinking this way. So for many restaurants, it could be another loss, because part of the people would say, I'm not going outside just to stay at 2 meters distance with my friends, and they cannot laugh, cannot enjoy a little bit the atmosphere of a nice night.
Thank you very much for joining us at Good Food Revolution today. Perhaps in a month or so, we'll catch up with you again, find out what's been going on in your region, and hopefully once all of this is over, we can share a glass of your wine back in Toronto.
Absolutely. One of my first destinations after the lockdown is finished, it will be to come to Canada and visiting either Montreal and Toronto to see all my customers, our agent, and all the friends. And so I will be definitely share a nice wine of our new selection of vineyards that we did in the last years, and that will be with you.
Excellent. Cesare, thank you very much for joining us. All the best and stay safe.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.